Hey guys, it's Heidi. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite cities. I hesitate to say that, but I think it's fair to call it one of my favorite cities, which is Oakland, California. It is one of the hubs of basically Black culture and tech culture intersecting. It's in the Bay Area, and I know a lot of people are moving there, and a lot of people are curious about the East Bay in general. So I thought it would be awesome to do a map tour similar to what I did for LA and Seattle. So let's get into it. So hopefully at this point you guys should be able to see my screen. And you'll see here we have the cities of San Francisco and Sacramento and San Jose on the map. And so we have, the Bay Area represented here. And as you zoom in, like I said, you have San Francisco here, and then they typically refer to the area between San Francisco and San Jose as the peninsula. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I would hear people say. And then on the other side of these bridges, you have the East Bay. And the East Bay pretty much starts at like San Pablo, Richmond, and extends through Albany, El Cerrito, Berkeley, through Oakland, which you can see is pretty much like the biggest city on this side. But you also have Hayward is another popular area on the East Bay, and Fremont is definitely also a large city on the East Bay, and Milpitas is also another popular area. And so people live in all these areas up and down in the East Bay. In terms of like racial representation, what you might hope to find, I would say like Berkeley, Emeryville, Alameda, Oakland, San Leandro, and Hayward areas are probably going to be where you'll see more Black people. And then when you go more towards Fremont, Newark, that's where you actually see more Indian people and Asians in general. And then once you make your way back up towards San Jose is a pretty major city, so you do have diversity there as well, but I would say it's mostly white for sure, similar to the way you have it in San Francisco. And then on the other side of the bay, Millbrae, Redwood City, all that stuff, it's mostly white, though you will find a lot of Indian tech employees, but mostly white. And some of the most expensive zip codes are on this side of the bay, like Atherton, which I can't spot it off like with my eyes, but Atherton's somewhere in here. And then when you go out by the coast, that's also like all like prime real estate, super expensive, like Half Moon Bay and things like that. So that's all quite expensive and white as well. I think Redwood City and San Carlos are a little bit more diverse because I definitely know some friends or former colleagues of color who used to live in those areas. But again, don't play yourself. If you are Black and you have to live in the Bay, highly, highly recommend and can't recommend enough living in Berkeley, Emeryville, Piedmont, Alameda, Oakland, Hayward. Like sticking to this general area is where you will see more diversity and more people that look like you, especially when you're going out to restaurants or to a grocery store. Outside of that, it's going to be very far and few between. So that said, let's actually dig in to Oakland specifically. I'm trying to think like what to even like point out for you guys that's like going to be the most interesting. I guess let's start with like the heart of Oakland. I very much consider the heart of Oakland to be Lake Merritt. Lake Merritt is like where all let me not say action, but definitely there's a lot of action in Lake Merritt. Not only is it beautiful, let me see if I can pull up a couple of photos from Google Maps to give you guys an idea. Does anyone have any good photos? These photos are okay, but they're not fully representing just like how gorgeous it is. Especially on a nice day, you'll see a lot of people just come to Lake Merritt to hang out, have some kayaking action going on, barbecuing action going on. You have these beautiful columns here that people take photos against. Or I know like one weekend when I went there, there was like a drum circle going on. Sometimes there'll be like a little flea market going on. And there are a bunch of restaurants around Lake Merritt as well as just like a bunch of open, like beautiful grassy spaces and trees like you see here. So it's just like the ultimate chilling spot. Like people also do stuff you'll see at any other park, like, riding roller skates or just like, setting up a hammock and playing on the swing and stuff like that. But it's just a really beautiful gathering spot. A lot of the protests that happen in Oakland, they will happen or they will start at around the Lake Merritt area, or if there's some other like mass event. In Oakland, it tends to be either at Lake Merritt or around the Lake Merritt area. So that's definitely where we should start. And let me see if I can kind of like somewhat accurately represent Oakland for you guys. I will definitely do a disclaimer and say I'm not the expert of Oakland. I lived in Oakland, and I went around, but I didn't have a car. So I didn't go that deep into all these different neighborhoods that you guys actually see. So I can't go into that level of detail of all these different neighborhoods and the differences. I can only tell you about the areas that I lived in and that my friends lived in. So that said, I used to live, so I have experience living in this Emeryville area. Emeryville, Golden Gate, Gaskill, Santa Fe, North Oakland. These areas are really like, it was kind of like a new area when I moved there. There's a whole shopping area, the Apple Bay Street, and also just, I don't know if they're showing it here, the Public Market, Emeryville. That was all like really new commercial, I don't know what to call it, establishments or whatever, when I moved in. But it was really nice. And like the whole area around Emeryville was super nice. You have like a bunch of cutesy restaurants and really cute homes and townhouses. And I remember there was like a ceramic studio that was like walking distance from my house that I used to go to and was really cool. You have a couple of hotels in the area. You also have the Emeryville Marina, which I think is like super underappreciated. So I would go sometimes to the marina and just walk around or bike around and enjoy the water, enjoy the view of the boats. And there are even some restaurants as well on this strip. I don't know if we'll be able to see it here. Yes, Trader Vic's is one of the restaurants that's there. Highly recommend it. It says Polynesian restaurant, but it's really just like a tiki bar with some like Americanized seafood food, basically. But it was good. I enjoyed it. And then they have these other restaurants, Garden Grill and Bar, but I can't really comment. Haven't been. It looks like they have a Trader Joe's now, which is super dope. They didn't have that before. But yeah, it's a really cool area if you just want to be like in an area where you can walk easily to a bunch of things at once. You want an area that's relatively nice, not too many homeless people, cutesy, but still pretty accessible and pretty easy to get over to San Francisco. Emeryville is the spot for you. And Emeryville is also cool because it's really close to Berkeley. And Berkeley has a bunch of cool stuff going on, like Berkeley Bowl is showing up here, which is one of the grocery stores, and it is dope. It's like Whole Foods, but like not Whole Foods, not a chain. Everything is fresh, everything is organic, and they have just like the coolest things, and the prices were pretty fair. So that's Emeryville. And then once you go past Emeryville, I think basically, I guess at the 580 line and MacArthur Boulevard is where you start to cross over into what would be West Oakland. So I know they have all these different names here, but I'm just going to call this whole area between 980, 580, 880, West Oakland, because that's basically what it is. I don't know why you got to break it up into 10. And this area historically is black. Obviously, all of Oakland's historically black, but definitely more West Oakland. So most of the neighbors and most of the people you'll see will be people of color, even though I'm sure there's been a lot more gentrification since I left several years ago. But I lived in that part of town because generally it was cheaper. Generally, it was less gentrified. People said they felt less safe there, but I grew up in New York City, so it's like whatever. I felt it was fine. I never had any, unpleasant encounters or happenings. But yeah, it's definitely like not as shiny, I'll put it that way, as the rest of Oakland is. But it was cool, and I was still like a short Uber ride or biking or, let's say 20, 30 minutes walking distance from the downtown Oakland area, which is where everything will be happening. And you're pretty much like the first stop before they get on the highway to go over to San Francisco. So I really liked that. That is in terms of the bus. On this side, you don't really have any. There is a subway in the Bay Area, but it only really goes to limited places. It goes to downtown Oakland, but to get from West Oakland or Emeryville to it is, you probably need to take a bus, or just take an express bus over the bridge. So that is West Oakland. Not so many like restaurants and things like that. Really more just homes, residential, and just like black families just living their lives. That's the best way I can describe it. And then once you cross the 980 here, you really get more into the downtown Oakland area. So you have downtown Oakland like center and Civic Center and Chinatown. So this main downtown area, I would say, is really like, which street is this? Let's say 19th Street. That's where the BART subway station is. So 19th Street and 12th Street are the main like subway stops and pretty much encompass like the main downtown area of Oakland. As you can see, it's not terribly huge. You can walk from 20th Street to 7th Street, which at that point is basically Chinatown, in like, I don't know, 20 minutes, something like that. It doesn't take very long. It's all very close, but what's dope about it is you have a bunch of restaurants, a bunch of, stores, shops, services, and just things going on in this like 10 block radius. So you can see like a bunch of bars like Cafe Van Cleef, Hello Stranger is a popular one. They have one Querico nightclub. I never went, but sounds like it could be cool. They have a bunch of hotels, so people like come for different conferences and things like that. Oakland Ice Center, again, never went, but I always thought about going to go ice skating. Fox Theater is a really big landmark in downtown Oakland, and they have a lot of live music there. I think I went and I saw either Tom Misch or someone else there. That was dope. The New Parish is a performing arts theater and live music venue, and there are a lot of things that happen there too. And then, of course, you just have like your standard like Starbucks, Walgreens. I think there's a Target they just recently opened that's around here. You have Paramount Theater, Shake Shack, just like, the things that you would want from a downtown. You pretty much have it all in downtown Oakland, which is what makes it so awesome. Like living in Oakland, I rarely ever had to go out. And I definitely rarely ever went to San Francisco because really anything I needed, it was there. Trying to think what else to point out to you guys. Mad Oak bar, really good. The other thing I really enjoyed is like most of the places I went to, most of the institutions in downtown Oakland, the bars, the restaurants, they're all quite good quality. And I had a lot of good food there. So also a big, plus for downtown Oakland. The other thing that's cool about it is like, even though it's a city and it's a downtown, all the surrounding areas very much have like more quiet residential vibes. And so you can like just go walk your dog or just go like chill at the park, like I was saying earlier. Go to the theater, go to the movies, go to the farmer's market. There's a farmer's market that happens near the Grand Lake Theater. I think it was on like Saturdays or Sundays. But then you also have like all these like world-class restaurants and bars and things that you can do over the weekend. So there really was never like a boring time. I know like In some cities, like Seattle, no offense, you might go and eventually you kind of run out of things to do or you run out of options. But you can see, like, even just in this view I'm showing you guys, if you're looking for a grocery store, you have Sprouts, you have Grocery Outlet, you have two Trader Joe's, you have Whole Foods, you know, you have Target, you have like so many options. And then, God forbid, you run out of options, you're just not satisfied. You can easily just jump over to Emeryville or jump over to Berkeley and get even more selection. So that was just my favorite thing about Oakland. Very central, especially since I didn't have a car. Very easy to like take the subway, take the buses, and get around, and be able to experience a lot of awesome stuff. The other thing that I think people kind of like overlook is Alameda. I think officially it's an island. Yeah, Alameda Island is kind of connected to Oakland, and there are cool things to do there too. There's this like winery that I remember, I think it was called like Rockwall or something, that one of my friends used to be obsessed with. I don't see it coming up here on the map. Let me type in winery and see what comes up. I don't see it here anymore, but you can obviously see there's Building 43 winery over here, Dash Cellars over here, and then there are also like wineries just like in Oakland, in Piedmont, Narrow Cellars. Like there's just literally, guys, so much to do. Like we literally, every time someone will be like, oh, did you hear about this? I'm like, oh, like I should go check that out. So that was dope. So yeah, don't forget Alameda. I think there are also some beaches like Robert Crown Memorial State Beach. It took me a long time to even realize there was a beach over there, and it's actually pretty decent. Like it's not like, you know, stunning water and white sand, but on a hot day, 85, 90 degrees, and you want to feel some sand on your feet and just like chill, it is a great option, and kind of like something that a lot of people don't even know is there. And then definitely I cannot make an Oakland video and not talk about Jack London Square. Why is it not showing? It's here, but I want to like actually outline the actual area for you guys. So let me see. Jack London. Here we go. Jack London Square. That used to be one of my favorite spots to check out in the Oakland area. It's waterfront. It's where the ferry drops people off if you're coming from the West Bay or from San Francisco. So you have like the whole marina vibe going on there. And there would just be all these really cool like lofts and like industrial apartments. And they had this like bowling alley and like restaurants and farmers market and just like all these random little coffee shops. Like it's just really cute. And they have like their own little like history and just like all these little shops and little things to do. So if you just want like a different vibe, you don't want to be like in the city where it's like a little bit more like city. You want something like scenic, but like cool, nice, especially like maybe you want to do like a date night or you want to show your family like a cool side of Oakland. Come to Port of Oakland, come to Jack London Square area, marina area, and you can definitely like have some cool things to do. And what else? I don't want to make this video too long. There's this other side of Oakland where you see like Merritt, Cleveland Heights, Clinton, Highland Terrace, blah blah blah, Lakeshore. And I honestly couldn't tell you guys that much about it because I didn't live there and I didn't know many people that live there. But when I drove through it, I did see that they were nice. Like I know like Clinton area is nice, is residential, there are things to do, there are restaurants. I would say like this side of Oakland, from what I remember, has always kind of been more gentrified and like whiter, versus like downtown, Chinatown, West Oakland. So it's always kind of been nice, and I think they have like nice properties and I don't know, stuff. So I can't really comment too much on it, but like if you're considering living there, definitely, you know, great options as well. It's not as close to the BART, so you might want to have a car or a bike or something like that. But yeah, and then the more that you get like towards the mountains, generally, like going away from the water towards the mountains on the East Bay, generally the nicer it is. So I know like Steph Curry lives in like one of these more mountainous suburban areas. What was it called? I'm totally blanking on the name right now. But just know that like, yeah, especially if you're looking to buy a house or rent a house that just has like more space, bigger backyard, you know, all these areas, Montclair, and Piedmont, Rockridge, um, yeah, just all these areas right by the mountains are generally like pricier, nicer, bougier, also further away from everything. So you definitely want to have a car because the hills are no joke. It's the Bay Area. Don't play with the hills. But it is really beautiful, really scenic, and makes it really convenient for just going up into the mountains for a hike or for a picnic or just to like check it out. There are so many just beautiful spots to check out. Like all these things that say like staging area, you can go to those places and then you'll see a bunch of directions on like where to walk and what you can see. And you'll see like volcanic, like there's like the Sibley Volcanic Preserve, and you have all these wildflowers and lakes, and it's like a lot of it is really stunning, guys. So really like I grew to appreciate nature a lot more while I was living on the East Bay. So I think that's the bulk of what I have to tell you guys for now. Oh, Orinda. I think it was Orinda where Steph Curry or other like rich people live. But again, you guys can tell me in the comments. But yeah, that is a very, very high level explanation of the East Bay and the surrounding areas. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's any other areas in the Bay Area that you want me to walk through or talk through. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so help a sister out. And I'll talk to you guys next time.